North Carolina vinyl picker here on a Sunday night. Hopefully my dogs stay quiet. Got a few things to discuss tonight. We got to go over my last 3 concert tickets. Going to show you some DVDs and some CDs that I found this week. And I found a bunch of records. So it's going to be a jam-packed episode of the North Carolina Vinyl Picker Show. And if you like the show at the end, please sub me up and hit the bell. That way you know every time the North Carolina Vinyl Picker is coming on to show you some stuff. So I finally got over my cold. Got a little sniffle still, and I wanted to thank everybody out there for subbing me up, all my new subs, closing in on 700, and I really appreciate that. That little show, that little engine that could. I want to say Happy Easter to everybody out there on this Sunday, and support those troops out there that are keeping our freedom alive. And we might as well go ahead and get right into it. Here's 3 of the last 3 tickets. We've gone through, I don't know, maybe close to 100 shows that I've shown. This whole thing is full, chock full of. I'm going to try to go through and then find the ones that I didn't have tickets for, and we'll talk about those shows. This one here is Moody Blues. I remember this show. I took my wife, one of the first date nights we had when we met. This is June the 8th, 1996. And I took her to the Ocean Center in Daytona Beach, to the Ocean Center, and seen the Moody Blues play there. And this doesn't say they had the orchestra then, but they may not have. But I seen them with the orchestra. I think it was over in Lakeland with my nephew. But yeah, that was a great show. And what's the cost of this show? It was $35.75. Wow, that's expensive for those days. $35 a seat for 1996. Okay, and then this one here, Genesis. This is the show that almost was. This was February the 28th, 1997, and the price was $17.75. So that was about 10 years earlier. And I remember the show because we went to the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, which is no longer there, and had high hopes of watching the show. And we got down there, and Phil did a couple of songs, and that was it. He said he had laryngitis or something, and he couldn't sing the rest of the show. But I was telling my nephew, I don't remember if we ever got a rebate for that. I mean, he only did like 2 songs or 1 song, and left the stage, and that was the end of the show. I mean, all the hype and getting ready to go to the show and loving the band, and we just couldn't wait to go and see them. And this was the We Can't Dance tour, I believe. No show. Last one. Billy Joel. This was $8.50, and this was over in Maryland, 1978, and my wife knows the name of that place up there where I saw these shows at. It's not listed on here, but it's a little place over close to Baltimore. And yeah, that was a good show. I remember seeing Billy Joel. That was the only time I ever got to see Billy Joel. And I think it was on his album that he did, Big Shot, from that album there. So I'm going to put these in here, file them away. And hope you enjoyed watching all the videos on my concert adventures. Yeah, there was a lot of them, wasn't there? Okay, let's go over the DVDs that I got for the week. So we got 4 minutes in. Heavy Metal, Sex and Crime and Rock and Roll. Found this Blu-ray almost a week ago now at a thrift store here not too far from my house. And I put it in my store, and it's really nice shape. It's a Blu-ray, and I ain't never seen it before. It doesn't have a booklet, so I don't know if it ever came with one. But Heavy Metal, and this is a lot of people are into this music. It's really nobody on here. It's got Blue Oyster Cult, Cheap Trick, Donald Fagen, Don Felder, Grand Funk, Sammy Hagar, Journey, Nazareth, Stevie Nicks, Riggs and the Trust. I don't know who that is. Black Sabbath, Blue Oyster Cult. I don't know. Never seen the movie, but I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have. And if you're looking for it, it's in the store. Steve Hackett, Spectral Mornings. This one's not for sale. This one's, I bought for myself, and I'm going to be watching this one possibly this evening. Gangs of New York. I finally found a copy. I was up in Lenoir, North Carolina this week, and went to the record store up there, and I found this DVD along with a bunch of records, and I'll be showing those in a few minutes, and a couple of CDs up there. And what a great store up there in Lenoir, North Carolina. And I was at a thrift store and found this, Combat, the second season. I think this show was only on for 2 seasons. I remember this show when I was a wee little tyke back in the day. And I remember liking it. And Vic Morrow died, of course, in the movie, The Twilight Zone. Helicopter crash killed him. But him and Rick Jensen there, that was a great show, Combat, man. And this was only $2. So I got the whole season, the whole second season on here. So now I'll have to be on the lookout for the first season. So I'll probably never find, but you never know. You know, I go in enough of these junk stores, I may eventually find it. That's a lot of watching right there. That's a lot of watching. I think I'll watch the Gangs of New York first. That's like 3 hours because I really like the actor there. So I found these 2 Alan Parsons CDs while I was there. And this one here is Try Anything Once. And this one here is called The Time Machine. And these were albums from the 90s that he made. And they weren't on vinyl. You could only get them on CD back then. Dead Wax Records. That's the store up in Lenoir. Check them out. If you're ever up there in Lenoir, North Carolina, check out Dead Wax Records. He's a really cool dude. And he's got a lot of used vinyl. And he's got some new vinyl. He does record store day. I plan on being up there record store day that morning. See if I could get the Yes and the Porcupine Tree live. Excuse me. My nose is running a little bit. So then, yeah, when I was up there the other day, Friday, he had these there for $5 a piece. So I got these CDs. I used to have them in my collection. I don't have them anymore, but now I got them back again. So that's how it works with collectors. But yeah, these Alan Parsons. I'm still looking for 2 more. One of them's called A Valid Path, which the first song on there is David Gilmour's on. And then he's got a new album out. It came out, I thought it was new. It came out 3 years ago already. Time is just cruising. It's called The Secret. And that came out right before the pandemic, I guess. And then I read he's got a new album coming out in 2024. So he's got a new one coming out within the year. Where I found that Combat, I found these 2. I found Magical Mystery Tour and After the Gold Rush, Neil Young. And I found these at the store. And I put these in the store. Unifon. This is the album that Genesis never made, so to speak. And it has the lead singer from Stephen Hackett's band is in this band. This is his first attempt at, well, I think he made a couple of CDs before this, but yeah, this is just a great album. This album, if you've never heard of Unifon, they sound so much like Genesis, it's unbelievable. Ned Sylvan is the vocalist. He's in the Steve Wilson band. He does all the Genesis stuff, the Peter Gabriel and the Phil Collins voices for Steve Hackett's band. Excuse me. So, yeah, so Unifon. Check Unifon out. If you can find the CD, it's hard to find. I actually have a couple of copies of it. But, yeah, so Unifon. You can probably listen to it on Apple or Spotify or something like that. But you ain't going to believe how much like this sounds like old Genesis. I know a lot of bands try to mimic that old sound. A lot of prog bands did, like Marillion and some other bands. But these guys here really nailed it. And Nad Sylvan is just amazing on vocals. Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass. I found this at a thrift store over in Lincolnton. And I have about, 25 copies of this on LP. This is the only time. I've never seen this on CD before. And it's really nice shape. And it was $1. So I'm going to put this in the collection. And this one here is Parigio's third album. Parigio is an Italian jazz fusion band. And these guys here are just incredible. If you like jazz fusion, you should be listening to this Italian band. They're called Parigio, and I have their first or second album coming in the mail soon, but this third album is really good. If you can get this one here and check them out. Some of their other stuff was released, like the fourth and fifth albums and stuff. They were released in the U.S., but this one here is Italian only. So I had to get it on a CD because the Italian vinyl pressings are like, I don't know, $80, $100. God, I hope I ain't getting sick again. I'm going to save these two here for the end. I mean, the Blue Light Special. Found this one here, the Spyro Gyra album, just yesterday. This was here up there in Dead Wax Records in Lenore. I found this one up there. All his used records are like $5, so you can't beat it. CDs and LPs used for $5. And he's got tons of them up there. So that's a good price, because if you go and pay $3 or $2, they're probably going to be beat up. All his records are perfect. There's hardly no scratches on them or nothing. Just $5. You know, what's $5? $5 for a record is a good price. Gato Barbieri. Yeah, I think I said that right. This here is Chapter 2, and this album here is on Impulse. This album here I played it last night. It was really cool. I think I'm getting into Gato Barbieri. Here's another Spyro Gyra album that was there. So I ended up picking up 3 albums and 2 CDs while I was there, and that DVD of that Gangs in New York. So here you go. And this one here is the first album by Spyro Gyra. I didn't have this one on CD or not. These guys are a jazz fusion outfit. Kind of similar in vein to, say, Yellow Jackets or the Rippingtons. You know, they call that kind of smooth jazz, Rippingtons. But Rippingtons did some fusion jazz, just like Yellow Jackets. I love Yellow Jackets, especially early Yellow Jackets. And Spyro Gyra, of course, is just a classic jazz band. They're going to be right here in Charlotte, but I don't really want to go down to Charlotte too much. Okay, so Nightbird and Company. Anybody out there ever hear of Alison Steele? Well, she was the night owl, and Nightbird and Company, Cosmic Connections. Look at these things. One of these I found at a record store, Far Out Records and CDs, down in Hickory, North Carolina. And this one here's got programs. It's got Rod Stewart, Black Oak, Arkansas, Leo Sayer, and Nectar. And Nectar's what I really keyed in on when I saw this down there for $1. I picked it up. I said, oh my goodness, look at that. And I remember Alison Steele. She used to be on at nighttime in WNEW, I think, out of New York. And she would have a show late at night, and she would highlight these different bands. This is all from 1975. This is all before I went in the military. And I lived up there in New Jersey, so I remember her. This one here was from 74. This was Nightbird and Company. Now, this one I got actually off of eBay and Discogs, or eBay one. And then I ordered it like a week ago. And then when I was at the store the other day, I found a different one. So that was a coincidence. But this one here has got the Straubs on it. It also has Tracy Nelson, New Riders of the Purple Sage, and Henry Gross. And you can find these in Discogs and eBay, and they're reasonably priced. And they got all kinds of bands that she did and highlighted and had interviews. This is basically interviews of the bands talking about the music back in the 70s. There's like a Led Zeppelin one. There's Black Sabbath. There's Yes. There's all kinds of bands on those Nightbird and Company Cosmic Connection records. These are pretty cool. I didn't even know about it until I seen that one at the store down there. Then this was there for $1, and I'm putting this in my collection. James Taylor, Rainy Day Man. Has anybody ever seen this before? I never seen this album before. And I thought I had all of James Taylor and the Flying Machine. That's what he was before he did his Sweet Baby James album. He had a couple albums before that. But this one here, I've never seen. So when I looked it up on Discogs, it was in there. But I ain't never seen this album before in my life. And I'm 65 years old, and I've done a lot of picking and a lot of record collecting. And I've never seen this before. Never. Anybody else ever seen this record out there before? It ain't worth much. It's only worth a couple dollars. But I just never, find another one. Unless you want to go buy one, of course, on eBay or something. The Style Council, My Ever-Changing Mood. Just found this one down there. And then I found Thomas Dolby, Airhead. And these were both reasonably priced. And then I picked them up just to put them in the store. I don't listen to either one of these bands anymore. But I never listened to this band. This guy I used to listen to, but not anymore. I pretty much sold all his records. There's still a few things in my store. And that's a Big Chief Vinyl 57. And if you go on Discogs, and there'll be a link down below, and then you can go on there and buy to your heart's content. I've had several people from the VC go out there and buy stuff. Everybody's been happy with me. I have over 100% on my buying and selling, and I've sold for like over a year now. So don't worry about that. I get everything out the next day. I sell things at the cheapest price I can sell things at. I look on Discogs and see what the lowest price is for the pressing, and then check the condition of it, and then I price it. And I always make sure that I beat everybody else's price. So there you go. You can't beat that. And I give you next day shipping, and I cleaned the record on my Humming Guru. So there you go. This album here, I've seen this record cover before. I just don't remember where. But it's Santana's Carlos Santana's brother, and the name of the band is called Milo or Malo. The brother's name is maybe it's Jorge or Santana. Yeah, Jorge, George. And it's George in Spanish, right? So that's Jorge Santana. Carlos is not on it. But, I mean, he rips. He's a guitar player, too. And he can play like his brother. I mean, goodness sakes. This is a great album. If you can find this album, I think I paid $1 for it. If you can find this album, pick it up. If you like Santana, you're going to, an Obisa, Obisier or Bassier. I don't know how you pronounce that. They have 3 albums. That's another band that's very similar to Santana. But if you like the Santana sound, especially the first 3 albums, you would love this. So if you can find it, pick it up. Malo, M-A-L-O. Check it out. It's a good album. North Carolina Vicar approved. Silk, Fuse 1. Found this one down there. And it's jazz fusion. Look at that lineup. Stanley Clarke. Whole bunch of people on this thing. I haven't listened to this yet. I'll probably give this a spin tonight. George Benson, Wynton Marsalis, Stanley Turrentine, Ronnie Foster, and a couple other guys that I don't know. But anybody out there recognize this album? I seen it there, and I said, it's on CTI. That must be a jazz album. And it was. So I picked it up. That's going in my collection. C-Train, another album from my collection, A&M Records. And I have another C-Train album. These guys are really good, and it's jazz. Apparently, they don't care for the jazz albums down there. They just put them in the dollar. This one here, I picked up when I was down there at Far Out Records and CDs. Red Queen, the Gryphon 3. And this album's pretty mellow. I listened to it. I thought it was going to be more of a prog album, heavy prog. It's a real mellow prog album. It's on the Bell label. It's the same as the Partridge Family. But somebody was telling me, I've seen this album cover before, and I've heard of the band before. I just never really heard their music before. But I picked it up. I told you this has been a crazy week. I'm almost to the end, though. Another Spyro Gyra album. This one here was called Free Time. And I was lucky enough to find this one for a good price. And I picked this one up for $5, I think. Love me some Spyro Gyra. While I was at the store down there in Hickory, but this one here was $5, so I picked this one up. And this ends my Procol Harum collection. This is Procol's 9th, and I did not have this one. I'm kind of a completist with a few bands. And I love Gary Brooker and Procol Harum, and I didn't have that one. I've never heard it, so I want to give it a listen. Excuse me, I'll take a swig. Woo, there you go. Okay, now, I got the Blue Light Special coming on. It's because I got 2 bangers here. This band is another Genesis type band that made this album, Garden Shed, a long, long time ago. Name of the album is Garden Shed. Name of the band is England, I think, or the name of the actual album is England. The name of the band is Garden Shed. There you go. This album came out in 1977, and it has a definite Genesis vibe to it, and sealed. And I got it for a steal, and there's very few copies that are on Discogs. And I think I paid up for it. I paid up like $30 for it. But thanks to you good people out there in the vinyl community for going to my store and picking up some stuff. I was able to use that money in PayPal, flip it around, and get me a couple of records for myself. So there you go. That's why I do it. I go out, I bang the bushes, and I find stuff to put in my store. So that way there I can bring stuff to the table to show you people, you're good people out there. So keep on supporting me, please. You all have a good rest of your night. Here's the latest. Here's the banger. Here's the banger of the week. Here you go. You got the Blue Light Special. And I'm going to give it to you one more time. Here you go, coming in sideways. The old Blue Light Special. How about this one? David Bowie. Yep. I picked this one up in the Jazz Bumps had a sale. And Felipe had a sale, and he showed this record on there. And I bought it from Felipe. He's a great to buy from. And I got it here quick. I got it here in a couple of days. This is a David Bowie album I didn't have. I like a lot of early Bowie. I really haven't really listened to too much of his older stuff. I wouldn't mind having his last album. I heard that was pretty good. I've heard it before, Black Star. But yeah, I don't like The Lodger. And there's 2 or 3 albums there I don't really know, put it that way. I'll probably find them on CD and give them a listen. But yeah, so David Bowie, the man who changed the world, the alternate cover. And that's just a cool cover, you know. For what I paid for this, the cover alone's worth it. But the album sounded great. And Felipe and the Jazz Bums do a great show. And they're on, I think, Friday nights. So check them out if you get a chance. Check out the Jazz Bums. And that's all I got. That was a handful of stuff, wasn't it? It took me all of 22 minutes to show you. That's too long. I need to shorten that up next time. I hope you all stay to the end. But like Tony was from the Two Trunk, and a couple people were saying that most people only stay in for like 6-7 minutes and then they bail. So if you watched here to all the way to the end, thank you very much for tuning in to the North Carolina Vinyl Picker Show. And if you like the show, check me out on the weekends. Every weekend I have a show. And I break in during the week if I have a special announcement or something comes up and I find a special buy out there in town or something. I know I'm going to the big city tomorrow, so I might be able to do some picking tomorrow for my next show. So time will tell if I end up finding anything tomorrow. But if I do, I'll bring it to you next weekend. Y'all take care out there and be safe. And North Carolina Picker will be talking to you soon. So bye for now.